Welcome to the Space in Between podcast, a series where we talk about everything and anything mental performance in a bite-sized fashion.
My name is Ciana, and I am joined, as always, by Frida. We are both mental performance consultants from Ireland and Sweden. And on this podcast, we talk about all things mental performance, from how we can improve our performances in sport, exercise, everyday life, and pretty much anything we can think of.
That's right.
Today, we are going to talk about Frida.
Woo, finally.
And to be more specific, an exciting challenge that you are officially started with today, but on the release of this podcast, it will have been yesterday.
Yeah. I am undertaking my biggest challenge yet. In a way, I guess. I am doing a half Ironman, July 5th, in Jönköping, Sweden. So, for you that don't know what a half Ironman is, it is a triathlon, also called a 70.3, and it's 1.8k swim, I believe, and then a 90k bike ride, and then you run a half marathon, so 21 kilometers basically at the end.
Is that all?
So it's a long distance triathlon, but not the longest because it's a half Ironman.
Yeah. So we all know that your performance background for most of your life has been focused on soccer. Obviously, in the last several years now, it's changed. So what has got you from soccer to a half Ironman?
When I was playing football, obviously from a very young age, so like 6 until 24 or something like that, many years, that was the only thing I focused on. You know, I was very much, soccer is my life. Not my whole life, but a big part of my life. Everything was centered around that because I went to America to play for a Division 1 school. And that was another one of my big dreams, was to do that. So everything was centered around that, right? And then really during that time, that was the only thing I focused on. So then when soccer was done, it was kind of like, well, what am I going to do now? I don't know. Because I decided to stay in America to do my master's, where we met. And it wasn't as easy to keep playing then. So then it naturally became my exit out of football. And I knew that already, so we don't have to get into that. I guess that's kind of what happened. And I had always enjoyed strength and conditioning, especially with Coach Lucas at UTRGV. Shout out. Great coach. So then those 4 years doing that and like really focusing on the strength and conditioning piece, like a really organized way. Like you felt like a professional. I love that. Like I love to train and to get stronger. So I knew already playing soccer that this is something I really enjoy. And you're like, this still has nothing to do with triathlon training. We're going to get there. So then moving to Mankato, Minnesota, I joined a CrossFit gym. And I really enjoyed that. I was like, oh, this is fun. There's so many things that you can do and challenge yourself with all the time. Like that's one of the beauties, but I think CrossFit, like there's so many different things to get good at.
Yeah, you think you've mastered one thing and then there's like 1,000 other things.
Yeah, it's very easy to get humbled over and over and over again. And if you want to look at it that way, sure. But I don't really have that mindset. I'm like, there's so many things you can learn and explore and get better at, which is what's really exciting to me. So I knew that I really enjoyed that. And then COVID happened. And me and Ciana were like, should we try to do something different, do something new? We had kind of talked a little bit about running. You know, we were like, maybe we will run. And my whole soccer career and up until like 2020, I had very much been like, I hate running.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing. And if you want to get all deep about it, maybe it's from soccer and like, you know, the running you did there was just painful, basically.
Yeah.
That's kind of probably where that comes from. So then we were like, okay, we'll do it. We're going to do a half marathon. So we decided to train for that. Was it probably around COVID time? Was it? Yeah, it was around that time we decided to commit to it anyway.
Yeah, it was at the start of COVID because we couldn't do the things that we enjoyed doing.
Yeah. So then we're like, okay, we'll start running.
We'll punish ourselves.
Probably like a lot of other people around that time. I don't know. That, you know, those sort of things you had to just, figure it out.
And everyone started doing the 5K and posting their times. And I was like, how are they running that fast?
I don't know.
You go.
I don't know about how legitimate those things were. But anyway, yeah. So we decided we were going to do a half marathon. And the funny thing with this too is that we started training in Minnesota. It's a little tangent now. And then we moved to Texas because we got a job in Texas. So the half marathon ended up being in the peak of summer in Texas, which was awful. And after that, we were like, no, we're not going to do that again. And then a few months later, we're like, let's do a marathon. So that was the two of us, right? And during that time, when I was kind of exploring new things, I started to learn about this thing called an Ironman. And I was like, whoa. So you're telling me people swim, bike, and then they run a half marathon or a marathon, depending on which distance you're doing. I was like, that's hardcore. And as someone that always saw myself as a person that's not an endurance athlete, you know, like I'm not a runner. I don't do those things. That's not what I do. Starting the marathon and the half marathon training was very transformative that way because it broke those barriers in my head. I was like, why is that something that I've been thinking? I can do whatever I want. All I got to do is train for it.
Yeah.
And then I can do it. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it exceptionally well or be the best in the world. That's beside the point, you know? Low standards here. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's where that itch started to grow. I was like, okay, this would be really hardcore. I one day want to try and do that. And that was in 2020 that idea started to form in my head.
So 6 years later,
Yeah, now it's 2026 and now I'm going to do it. So that's pretty cool.
And when you think about a half Ironman, like that's obviously a triathlon. So in the last few years, you've obviously dipped your toe in the triathlon world.
Yeah.
How has that been for you?
It's been fun. It's been different. It's been challenging. Like any training like this would be. Doesn't matter what you're doing. But when you're committing to a long training plan, whether that's for a 5K or for a half Ironman, there's many weeks of training that you're putting into it. And it's been a very different type of training. So the last 2 years, I've done a triathlon here in Galway. And from around this time, probably February, March, whatever, until May, I have been training like swimming, biking, and running. And it has been very different because I love lifting. I love lifting heavy weights. I love anything CrossFit. Like I love just being in the gym. So I think a challenge with that is kind of doing less in the gym. That's a challenge. But then also just because I love it so much and obviously you can't do it all, then your body will break. So kind of rewiring that mindset. Yeah. And that can be hard, not speaking from experience here. But yeah, I think the biggest challenge really has been the swimming, just because it's so different from anything I've ever done. Like we talked about this before on another podcast years ago when I was signed up for my first triathlon. Oh, I'm nervous about swimming because when I started swimming, my first swim session, I couldn't even do 2 lengths, which is like 50 meters in the pool without feeling like I was going to drown. And it wasn't even necessarily the swimming itself, but the breathing. That was
like
the issue.
Feeling out of breath nearly.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously getting into the rhythm of breathing is so important. Technique is so important, like with any sport that you're doing. But you can really tell with swimming. But the cool part about that, though, is now starting this training, I have my swim test tomorrow, which there will be 1 speed finishing it. We're still at that level, okay? But anyway, I did a swim class last week, and that was the first time I've swam. I did a few ocean swims in Spain, but not too much. First time I swam in a while, and we accumulated in that class 1,600 meters. Well, that's what I accumulated anyway, around that. And it's so cool.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because you say that's what I accumulated because the other people in the class accumulated like 2K plus.
Yeah. There was different lanes and there was some in the fast lane and they just obviously were able to do more because they're swimming faster.
Yeah.
So they like if you did it exactly the way the instructor had written it on the board, it would have been 2,500 meters. So I swam 1,000 less, which is fine. I was going to get to the point where I'm proud of myself because if I think back on the first time I went in the pool 3 years ago, like I said, I couldn't even do 50 meters. And here I hadn't swam in a while and I just jumped into the pool and I was able to do an hour of swimming basically.
Cool.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much room for improvement. Like it's not even funny how much I can improve, especially technique-wise to become more efficient. But even the fact that I was able to do that, that just goes to show to me that at the end of this training block, like I will be well able to swim the distance that's required. Obviously, I know it's different in open water, etc. But still, you know? So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty incredible progress
Yeah.
to see. I
Yeah.
have no reference because I don't know how people progress in swimming, but you went from barely being able to swim 100 meters without it feeling so difficult
Yeah.
to like being able to swim a mile fairly effortlessly.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool too. And it's something that I have to remind myself of because, when I think about the swim training that I'm going to do, and when you think paces in swimming, like my pace is so slow, right? But then I'm like, Frida, remember when you started?
Yeah.
There was barely anything there. So really there is a lot of progress. And that will only get better with more training now, these next 20 weeks basically. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Also nervous.
A question that I have that
Mm.
is kind of off topic, but it relates to the half Ironman is, sometimes when you talk about, or like last year when we were doing a half marathon,
Mm.
I think this relates to the half Ironman too, is that you might be like, oh, it's just a half marathon,
I
or
know.
it's just a half Ironman.
Mm.
Just tell me about your thought process about this half Ironman. Like, what is it?
Yeah, this is so interesting. I think my algorithm is damaging me on Instagram, to be honest. Like we have talked about this a little bit before, but the algorithm does what the algorithm does, and it throws everything back to you that you're kind of interested in. And right now, my feed is a lot of endurance things. So it seems like everybody and their granny is doing an Ironman or a half Ironman. And I know that's not true, but I'm also like, oh, it's not that special. Everybody's doing it. This is very interesting psychologically now. It is. So actively I have to remind myself of that as well, that no, this is pretty cool what you're about to do.
Yeah, I mean, most people are not running half marathons, doing half Ironmans or Ironmans.
Yeah.
But social media can make it seem like everyone
Yeah.
is doing this.
Yeah.
Like, why is that a big deal? Because everyone does it.
Yeah. I mean, even with that, though, it doesn't matter if everybody and their granny was doing half Ironman. It's still,
What about the grandpas?
you know what I'm saying. But yeah, it's still a challenge that I have never done before. So really, that comes back to like thinking about other people. Like this is about me.
Yeah.
So reminding myself of that. But I do have a tendency to get like that.
She does.
Ciana often has to reel me back in.
I know, because I'll be like, we're doing a half marathon, yay! And then Frida will be like, yeah, but it's just a half marathon. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really undermining the work you're putting in.
Yeah.
Because once again, it doesn't matter really, if you're working towards, let's say, a 5K just for simplicity, or 10 or a half for a full marathon, for example, you're still putting in the work to achieve that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that you're doing this because I don't know why I distinctly remember when we ran like a K in Texas because we did like an out and back route. For context, I used to hate doing out and backs. I just thought it was brutal. But I remember getting back and we were like so excited that we had gone further than 10K. And now you are going to run a half marathon after swimming like what?
Yeah.
And biking 90, and then you're going to run 21.2 kilometers.
Yeah. Mad.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good point you brought up there as well, because when I think back on that run, I had for years said that I want to run a 10K.
Yeah.
And I had for years not run a 10K. Like for years. Even just running for 60 minutes was a part of my goal. Hadn't done it. But that was the first time, and we did it for the first time together. And that was massive.
Yeah.
Progress is progress. Like,
Absolutely.
takes time.
When you think about showing up at the start line in Jönköping,
Well done.
thank you. Like, is there anything in particular that you feel like you're gonna wanna be prepared for besides the physical? Obviously, you're gonna do the physical training.
I think one of the main things, and I actually think this with most things that you train for, I genuinely think that the training is harder than the race. And the reason why I say that is because the race is going to be difficult. It's going to be many hours that I'm doing this race. But the training has gone on for 20 weeks. So that's a lot of hours, a lot of time being locked in on one particular goal and like working towards that. Like on race day, based on what I've felt before doing other races, it's very easy for me to be, I'm very excited to do this. Like, let's go. Yeah, there's nerves. There's always nerves. There are going to be tough moments in the race. That's just what it's like with anything. But I also know that from A to B, it's going to be over in an X amount of time compared to when I'm on week 12 of this training program out of 20 and I don't want to go to the pool. You know, that's where the real challenge is. And that's going to happen. And I know that's going to happen because it's happened with every other thing that I've trained for. Like that's a natural part of it. So I think showing up on the starting line, to answer your question, being proud of all the prep I've done, also being proud that I finally made it to this point.
So maybe like the biggest thing for you to be able to do that is to follow through on the training.
Yeah.
Even when it's week 12 and you don't want to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to be on that starting line and be like, wow, I put 20 weeks into this and now I'm going to do the thing.
Not just 20 weeks though, is it? It's like
years
of first like
that's true.
Nearly like the pre-contemplation, and then like to get to this point and to feel like you actually could do it, you had to like start running.
Yeah.
And then like we did an 80-kilometer bike race, might be a strong word for it. Early bike.
It was Tour de Connemara. It was a bike thing. Yeah.
But like guys, this bike race is brilliant. I'd actually highly recommend it because there was like a literal like coffee stop in the middle, basically, like snacks and everything,
sandwiches.
So that's why I said it wasn't like a race. And they actually say at the start, like, this is not the Tour de France, so please just relax. But like you had to do a lot of things to even, like, it took a while to get to the point where you were like ready to sign up, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not even just 20 weeks. It's like many years.
Absolutely. And everything obviously has built on top of, like, the years and days have built on top of each other. And then I finally made the decision that now I'm going to do it. I don't know why now was the right time, quotation marks here, because is there ever really a right time? You just got to sign up and do it.
Yeah, I mean, you also could have, instead of doing that whole process of running a marathon, half marathon, all those things, you could have just signed up for a half Ironman.
But at that point, that wasn't even something that...
I felt so far away.
It wasn't even on my radar that existed. But then I was like, ooh, this is hardcore. You're working out for many, many hours. Let's see if I can do this.
People need to send suggestions of other things that Frida can take on.
I actually said to Ciana earlier, like, you know, doing an ultra would be cool. Anyway, I think what all of this comes back to really is how I view myself as an athlete and a person. I think that I can do anything I put my mind to. And I've said this before. I said it on my Instagram in a little post that one of the reasons why I want to do this is because I want to test what I can do. I want to see what I can do because I feel like there have been times in my life where I've been put in boxes by other people and I don't want to be in a box. Like, I don't want to just be good at lifting or just be strong or just run. I'm using the word just now, but you know what I'm saying? I want to try to do it all and see what happens. Who knows? I might do this and I might say I'm never doing it again because it was awful.
Like, that's what you said after running your first half marathon.
That's
and
true.
Then like 3 weeks later, we were like, would we do a marathon?
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, but yeah, I that's one of the things that I want to see what I'm capable of. Like, I want to tackle this challenge head on and just do it because I believe that I can.
I mean, you can. So if
hard work.
The logistics of it then, what does a week look like for you right now at training? What will you have to do?
So I haven't looked too much into my training plan yet, but it's basically 2 sections with each discipline. So I'll do 2 swims, 2 bikes, 2 runs a week. And then I don't know if that's going to change further down the line or not, but that's the general plan. And then, of course, I'll have some strength training in there too. Probably 3 days of strength. Maybe, I think I'll probably have like an upper body, lower body, and maybe a full body. Something like that. Kind of balanced out throughout the week so that it all goes together. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of training, but I always train a lot.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
change is that my training will be different.
I'm thinking that it's not like, you know, you already probably train 6 days a week.
Definitely, yeah.
So you have a good advantage there that like it's not like you need to change your week, you just need to change what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, you know, sticking to that schedule.
Yeah.
Because the things are on the days for a reason. And the other 2 triathlons that I've done leading up to this the last 2 years, I followed the training plan or a training plan and I did the work, but I also wasn't as locked in, I personally feel. Like maybe when we did the Stockholm half marathon or when we did the marathon training. And I know that for this distance, for me to be able to stand on that starting line and feel like, let's flip and go, that requires me to stay committed and to take off the sessions as they go along, even if I don't want to.
And even if. So like one of your things is not necessarily that you skip sessions, it's that you love strength training and
Yeah.
doing workouts in the gym. I foresee one of the challenges for you being like, no, I'm not going to do that workout in the gym today.
I know. See, yeah, this is where it's gonna get tricky and where I'm gonna want to pull back and you're gonna help me do it, please. Thank you. Yeah, I know.
But I think it is it's an interesting thing. Like you enjoy training a certain way and like you really want to train for the half Ironman and do that. But I also think it can translate over to like many disciplines and how like the idea that like doing less is problematic because that means I won't be prepared. But also doing too much or more random stuff can also be problematic.
Yeah.
Because maybe it means you can't actually give your full effort to the sessions that are programmed for you.
Yeah.
Because you're giving effort elsewhere. So like, I think we often maybe not criticize, but we're like, you know, why are you missing sessions? But then on the same end of that is like, why are you doing extra things?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a balance there. I think something that I will remind myself of is what is it that you're committing to right now, Frida? And that is, like I said, to stand on that start line and to feel good about the training that I've put in. And that means that if I am tempted to go to the gym and like to do those workouts, to ask myself, okay, well, is this helping or hindering my triathlon training? Like, what is it that I think is most important right now?
Not right now, Frida. What is most important long term?
Thank you. All right.
Because right now, you might be like, yeah, I want to do the workout.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, this is definitely going to be one of the biggest challenges for me.
And for me.
Yeah. Because also with this training now, this is going to be the longest plan I have done, sticking to these 20 weeks. And every other time where I have done a triathlon towards the end, I'm definitely like, oh, I'm itching for the gym. So I know it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
This is such a funny thing to talk about as a problem. No, but I think I'm very excited for this adventure. Like I said, there will be times where it's going to be tough. It always is. Whether that is because I need to do less or because I'm tired. There's many different things to think about with this. But with that said, I'm very excited to tackle it head on. Like I've been itching to get going with this for like a month. You know, probably 2 months ago, I was like, I just want to start training already. That's what I said.
Heard a lot about it.
Yeah, you have. And like I said, with my mindset, I think that I can do anything. So I also hope that, you know, you listeners can also take that with you, that if there's something that you want to do, there's something you want to work towards, regardless of what that is within fitness or personal life or business, etc. Like take that first step and just start, because that's the only way anything is going to happen. And who knows, 6 years down the line, you might be signing up for something or no. But yeah, I think, you know, if you put your head to it, you start building those blocks, like there's nothing you can't do, regardless if it takes a year or 7 years.
I know we're joking about 6 years down the line, but like sometimes the small steps we take, we don't even know where they're leading us.
True.
We started running during COVID. We didn't know that we would do a half marathon. You're going to do a half Ironman and then an Ironman, putting it out there. So like even like a small step going for a run, you literally don't know where that's going to take you. So take that small step and be open to the possibilities that come with it. And we're also going to check in with Frida and her half Ironman training.
Yeah.
I'll be monitoring when any challenges arise that we can discuss on the podcast.
Good.
And use to our advantage.
Yeah, so definitely, you know, we'll probably talk about it more here when things happen and then we think are worth talking about, I guess.
Yeah, but also follow
YouTube,
Space in Between on socials, and Frida's personal social media, where you're going to share a lot of insight to your training.
Yeah.
If you want to follow along, support, give like.
Yeah, give me a high five in the comments.
And yeah, let us know what you're working towards in 2026.
Yeah, I'm committing to this. So now you listeners, what are you committing to? Let's do something difficult together so that all of us can keep using the space in between together.
And we'll see you in the next one. Together.
Together forever.